that after we won the 3 titles, where were these Igor Štimac haters?
Ranjit sir seems to be a PR agent of Igor Štimac rather than an Indian football fan.
And with such people running the federation, no one can be successful. These guys are there for themselves, not for Indian football.
The Indian football team needs the support of the fans when they are down. They don't need you at all when they are winning titles.
What did Kalyan bring if he is coming from the leading party? Knowing that our budget was reduced 85%, why he didn't bring back that?
You had 5 meetings with the president in the span of 18 months.
We were together in the same hotel for 3 days. In 3 days being in the same hotel with the national team coach. He didn't find convenient to call me, sit down with me and discuss. No, he was chasing Arsene Wenger to take photo with him. So what kind of a meeting he's talking about?
And now you consider yourself to be an Indian football fan. Put up a message for the federation as a passionate Indian football fan. Welcome sir, how are you?
Thank you very much. Feel good at home. My family house, my parents are here, my brothers, everyone with the families, with the kids, grandkids are around. So it's great to be in such environment. Following Euros, obviously, waiting the game to start.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So, which team are you supporting after Croatia?
Now, after Croatia has gone out.
No.
Yeah, which team?
I don't have favorite team, obviously. I have few teams which are emotionally attached to and connected to, One is obviously Croatia, The other one is my hometown club, Hajduk Split. The 2 more clubs, 3 actually, which I'm attached to are Derby County, where I had a fantastic 4 years of spell and earned the status of God. West Ham United, where I had two beautiful years with such a great players, later on became great. Rio Ferdinand, Frank Lampard, Joe Cole, great Paolo Di Canio, Stuart Pearce, Michael Carrick, Jermaine Defoe. It was a great experience at the end of my career, And then if you ask me about the clubs I follow from my childhood, my club was always Liverpool. I was in love with that club, with the style of play, with the passion, with all of it. And after I was introduced to Real Madrid, when my teammate Davor Šuker signed there, and then later on Luka Modric becoming one of their players, I got attached to Real Madrid also. So I use every opportunity to go and watch the games.
Igor, I always wanted to ask you this. For maybe the greatest Croatian player of all time, will it be Davor Šuker or Luka Modric for you?
No, it's Luka Modric, definitely. We cannot even compare that with the trophies Luka has won and achievements and everything. No one is even close to him.
So, coming back to that, so you would say greatness would be defined by trophies, by titles, by...
Listen, it's something which defines the difference at the end of everything, because it's like a football game. You can play wonderful football. Everyone can be amazed about the way you play, but if you lose the game, that's what everyone remembers. The rest of it, forget.
Right. Yeah. So let's start with today's conversation. And Igor, sir, I would like to start with you. 5 years with Indian national team. Would you like to describe that feeling of 5 years?
It's been wonderful 5 years, I need to tell you. With all the suffering, with all the problems and the challenges, but leaving the position with the pride, with the honesty, and staying there attached to Indian football, and whatever is there, I will always be supporting Indian national team and following what's going on and trying to help the friends friendships I got there. So part of me is Indian, as you already know, and it was visible how much passion I invest and I put there into all games and the work. So it will always remain like that. It will not change.
Okay. So moving on to Ranjit sir, I recently watched the discussion where you and Ranjit sir were there. And the discussion was quite interesting. But something which I noticed was like, and again following the social media trend, if the federation is doing, I'm also doing a little bit. So what I found out was
Right?
that
You are supposed to be doing that. Actually, that's your job.
yeah, yeah,
Okay?
yeah,
But
yeah.
if the federation does that, okay, now go on.
They're influencing me now. So what I found out was that Ranjit sir was speaking a lot in the favor of Igor, and a lot of people thought about, like, commented there, and I got some message also personally that Ranjit sir seems to be a PR agent of Igor Štimac rather than an Indian football fan. So Ranjit sir, my question to you is that
Working
how will you
pro bono.
justify? Yeah. So
Thank
how
you
will you
so much.
justify? Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you
So
so
how
much.
will you justify that?
Thank you
Listen,
so much
listen.
for asking this.
Yeah. So how will you justify that you are a Indian football fan and you care about Indian football and you are not a PR agent of Igor Štimac? How will you justify that?
Yeah. Thank you so much for asking me this because it's not about one interview. Every thing I do on social media, if there are 20, 30 comments, there's always one comment that why are you supporting Igor? Okay, and it started off last year. So what happens is, see, the reason you just said that why do you justify it? I justify it exactly because I support Indian football. That is why I support Igor. Now I'll justify that statement. If someone had asked me, like just before this, there was one topic, and I especially said that time, and I asked Igor because Igor said Luka Modric is much greater than Davis Super because of the trophies he's won and the wins he's got. I mean, the trophy cabinet. End of the day, there are two things in life: results and reasons don't count. And I put that up huge on my wall here. If someone had asked me that there's going to be a coach who's going to come to India and in 5 years he's going to win us 4 international titles, would it be okay? Would you take him? I would say yes. Because the last coach who was here, or the last to last one, and for the last 30 years, I've never had one coach win me 4 international titles. Okay, leave that aside. Somebody just said to me, forget about all that. Kuwait, and somebody had asked me this after the day Kuwait had beaten India 9-1. And we all remember that day. And you play the next 4 matches with Kuwait. You'll win 2 of them. And the one you lose will be because of a horrible referee's mistake, which the whole world can see except the referee. I would have taken it in a heartbeat because that result of 9-1 was not very far long back. It was very recent. So to change that, it's not about football style. It's about mentality, what you think. You have to understand the mentality of the boys right now is for the last 5 years is a different thing. They think actually that they can beat anyone. I've been saying this in all my podcasts earlier before Igor was here also. That if today the Indian hockey team has to play the German hockey team, they will think how many goals we'll beat them by, or we are just going to smash them today, or something like that. If India has to play Germany in football, we'll be thinking, I guarantee you, that how do we make this less embarrassing for us? And we don't get into double figures. That's what the international football team of India will be thinking, because I know those boys and I know Germany. So the difference now is that we can think of going to Qatar and drawing there because the police was there. We can think of going and pulling off these great victories and winning 3 titles in a row, and even the 4th and the 5th one, I really think we were robbed of in Merdeka and in Thailand. So if somebody had told me that the playing style India has from a 4-4-2, which was the last coach's preferred style, and which is very antiquated and it's all long ball, we will go into an attacking play and we'll have short passes and we'll play attacking good football. So I would ask everybody in the last match, forget about, nobody talks about 10 matches, 3 titles, that type. Last match, which was in charge, he was in charge. How did you like our playing style? Without Sunil Chetri, imagine we didn't have Sunil there. How did we like it? We loved the way they played. We loved the way the Indian team was playing. Now, yes, you are judged on your results, but imagine if that last match had gone in this way. You understand, forget the 4 titles. he would have done something which no Indian coach has ever done in the history of Indian football. Please understand that. We were 5 minutes away from that. And 5 minutes away from that does not change it. Yes, football is a very cruel game. End of the day, it's 90 minutes what happens. But we were 5 minutes away from making history. Like the Indian World Cup team has just done, it would have been in the headlines of the paper that we qualified for round 3. Now, I guarantee you that if that had happened, half the naysayers would have been dead. I ask you, Sagil, and I'll ask Tanay very, very openly, that after we won the 3 titles, where were these Igor Štimac haters? Why were they not out in the open? Why do they always come out in open when we start doing badly? See, I'll tell you, the Indian football team, doesn't matter if Igor's there or doesn't matter which coach is there, needs the support of the fans when they are down. They don't need you at all when they are winning titles. Yes, you want to celebrate with them and share in their happiness because you've supported them. But that's what makes it sweeter. When we win the titles, it is because of the shit we've gone through in our life and all the hard times India was. So now, can you imagine the mentality of the Indians right now? I love it because right now, till last year, we were not even thinking of titles. Now we won 3 titles and 4 titles. Now, even if there's a bad result, we expect the coach's head. And that mentality of Indians thinking that way has been given by this man. And I totally support him.
Do you think that...
I tell you why. Because see, before that, bad results was a part of our daily nature for the last 20 years. So bad results used to happen every month and we never used to expect anything better in international football. Suddenly we started getting good results. Then we expected more. He's the man who made us expect more. Now, that's one. Then comes who I am as a person. Okay, this was about the logical part. Now, who as I am as a person. Now, there are something known as quantities and qualities. Qualities, unfortunately, once you have it, you cannot decide whether you want to turn it on or off. You can't say, I will be disloyal to my girlfriend, but I'll be loyal to my country. Loyalty is a quality. If you're loyal, you're loyal. You have to be loyal to everything because that's what you are. So once I'm loyal to someone, I will not change overnight because the entire country is against that man. So I am sure that Indian football fans don't want me to be a people pleaser. They don't want me. I'm the only one who goes out and shouts at people and fights openly for Indian football rights. Okay. And I don't think they want me to be the one who agrees with everybody just because it's popular opinion. If I was agreeing with popular opinion, I would not be the man who I am. I stay by my words and I will always do that. Just because people hate me for it, I don't care. I'm not here to win an election, either in AIFF or anywhere else. I will stick by my beliefs till the day I die.
Yeah, I just wanted to, when you asked the question about people asking, is Ranjit an Indian football fan? Or, for those of us who have been doing this for, a decade or more, Ranjit Bajaj, the name is sort of synonymous with all the youth titles, players given to the national team, Minerva winning the I-League. So I don't think we should take someone seriously who is asking, is Ranjit Bajaj an Indian football fan or is he just, And another point he brought up was that when, fighting for the country is one thing. He has done it. Igor, when he came here, he stood up for the players. He demanded better things. And till the end of his time, he kept doing it. And so are all of us. So people questioning about patriotism, there are a lot of fake-ass patriots out there who are simply trying to get on this sort of glory wagon only when we win, like Ranjit said. So we need the fans when we are at our lowest, not when we are winning everything. So, yeah.
So you're muted.
Yeah,
and now you can.
I would like to add something to what you asked, Ranjit, and it's really important. Why he can stood by me? Because he knows me. Because he witnessed the work I'm providing. Because he was there with us to watch the transformation, to witness everything what was going on, to discuss with me. We were not born friends. We became friends. throughout our meetings, our conversations, our discussions about Indian football, what needs to improve, how to improve it, what steps India needs to take. So I don't mind, listen, and I love him. I love him to my bit because he's honest. He's a guy who will speak the truth no matter what. Same like me. We are so alike, Ranjit and myself. We don't give shit about what someone thinks. We will speak out loudly whatever is on our mind. And we are not doing that neither to please someone or to hurt someone. We are trying to change things, to improve things. And if it can happen with us speaking the truth, we're going to do it. And that's what I've been doing here from the very first day. And it's clear to everyone, I made some strong enemies speaking the truth. They were trying to look each opportunity whenever it was convenient to create strong social media opinion against me. And I didn't care about that. I didn't care about that because I didn't come to India. I said, and there was a public statement which caused me show cause letter. I didn't come to India to lick asses. No one's, not Ambani's or anyone else. I came to India to help you if you need my help. If you are there to follow whatever someone is saying who's got nothing to do with the football knowledge, what you need to do, then follow him. I don't have a problem with that. I openly said last year after July SAF final to Kalyan and to Harris at the meeting, listen guys, either you show me the trust in the process and after you receive my presentation, you fulfill what needs to be fulfilled for this team to keep doing and making success. When we shake hands now, we separate our ways, we stay friends. It was
Which presentation are you talking about, sir? If you could tell our audience, which presentation are you talking about?
The presentation I at that time promised to them to make in a 10-day time and send to them, which will consist of past 4 years of work, what was done, what were the goals, what was achieved, and future phase of 4 years, what needs to be done for Indian football to stay successful on the road, you know. And everything was there, together with what national team needs to stay successful and contract extension conditions and everything. Everything was there and it was supposed to be answered until 1st September, which was never done.
Igor, do you think the new head coach who will come in, if these people stay in charge, do you think that person's success will depend on how this person manages to navigate through this circus as it has become?
Listen, challenges are huge and you cannot confirm anything what will happen. But challenges are so huge and with such people in running the federation, no one can be successful. Because they don't care about national team or success of underage groups or football development or anything else. The purpose of them being there is their private interest. It's clear to everyone in India. Come on, let's not hide that. These guys are there for themselves, not for Indian football. You know, the one who is the highest chair is just thinking about his political career.
Igor, this time,
Tanay, I will ask you one question. If he is coming from the leading party, knowing that our budget was reduced 85% 3 years ago, why he didn't bring back that? If Praful Patel was a problem for someone there, if they removed him, prior to removing him, they reduced the AIFF budget 85% and sent us Kalyan from the leading party to bring us what? Transparency. Why they didn't bring budget back to where it was once? If they wanted to help Indian football. Let's speak honestly here and clear.
I would even...
What did Kalyan bring to Indian football when he came as a president? What did
See, in fact, it was one of his poll promises. With the manifesto which they give out, in which he had said that I will be bringing more money from the government because I'm from the leading party, and we all expected it, by the way. So we didn't expect that we will be in doldrums and we'll have no money to even be doing normal tournaments. But now I'll tell you why Tanay is asking this question, because now for the first time, because he was with Finladi, he's seen it from the other side. He's seen what they actually do and how they're trying to kill the second division, which is now, and it's not because of the fault of the I-League. Overnight, they were made into the second division because they didn't have enough money to pay every year to a private company, Mr. Ambani's company, 18 crores a year. That was the only fault, not on merit. And they took away our AFC Champions League spot and everything. And then they just promised us, okay, that, okay, fine, they are very rich people, don't screw around with them, fine. We'll give you a chance to go up. And that's all we wanted. I said, and I said it then, I said, you put Minerva in the 10th division, but if we deserve to be there one day, I'll get there. But you can't say that you cannot get to the top division. It's only meant for rich people. And that's why in 2019, they took us to Malaysia. We went with our own cost, all the clubs. AFC promised us, the head, Dato Windsor, he was there. FSDL guys were there. AIFF Secretary General was there, Kushal Das. They all signed on the paper saying there'll be promotion and relegation. And that's what I was fighting for. That is the basis and the merit of all leagues in the whole world. Unless you have promotion and relegation, there is no football. It's like the European Super League, what they were trying to do. In fact, the European Super League is the model which is in India. Which is in India right now. There's a closed league, 18 crores a year to a private company, and they've got nothing to do with anyone else. But somehow, they've got the federation on board. And all we wanted was a chance to get there. So the lead story or the Iceball or the Minerva story in India can never happen again. It can only be one billionaire or the other billionaire winning the league. So it does not matter. A team like Hyderabad, which was owned by really rich people, is now bankrupt and has gone out. But they won it.
Why is it so?
They won it 1.5 years ago. Yeah, if it was such a great model, clubs wouldn't have shut down. 50% of the ISL is now I-League clubs who they've taken from us. Bangalore FC, Mohun Bagan, East Bengal, Punjab FC, Mohammedan Sporting. Nobody can take 20 crores, 35, 40 crores a year loss. They were supposed to be breaking even by the 5th year. And that was the promise. The promise was that we will develop football in India. And that's not what they have done. In fact, we are worse off. Why? Because in the I-League, 10 years ago, so let me tell you why I'm against the ISL. I'm not against ISL at all. I'm against the way they're doing it. In the 2010-11 I-League, Sunil Chhetri used to play on and out as a striker. So did Robin Singh. So did all the great strikers of that time. They were playing as strikers in their national teams. Manveer plays as a right wing back. And then they say, why is Manveer failing and become so shit? He's become missing in front of goals because in his club, the whole year, he's playing as a right wing back who's made to go up and down, and he's supposed to defend and just go up and there give crosses. And what was Manveer? He was a striker. He was a pure out striker. If you put Sunil Chhetri as a right back, yes, he will do very well. Trust me, he's a great defender. But you really think he'll go start scoring goals in the national team?
But Ranjit, just to see that, now, for example, if we take Gurkirat, who was in Mumbai, maybe as a third choice or whatever, he has gone to Chennai FC based on, I don't know whose advice, where there are two foreign strikers, two of the probably the best ones in the league, Chima, Jordan Gill. After that, they already have Rahim Ali. They have Irfan Yadwad. Then comes Gurkirat. They have also Kian Nasiri. I mean, unless Owen is planning to play 6 up front, I don't know how many minutes Gurkirat or even, anyone can get, or even a Kian. I mean, sure, Kian can play wide, Kian can play as a second striker. But we want to groom these guys as the future number 9s of the country. And if I'm not...
you keep asking, Tanay, keep asking, where is the next Sunil Chhetri? How are we going to find him if you're not going to play him?
Yeah.
There's no
So one other things also that I have heard, like in the last discussion where Igor sir mentioned that big salaries in ISL is also a problem for Indian footballers. Do you agree with that, Ranjit sir?
No, 100% I would. I think Ranjit does that.
I'll tell you, players hate me for this because I keep saying it, but that's the reason Indian football is screwed. Why? Because none of my players will even think of going abroad. Why? They're number one, they're superstars here. That's the glamour part, which they'll never get there. because there'll be nobody's there. Nobody will even look at them. Second part, they will not, even the best of them will not get more than $5,000 to $7,000 playing in second or third division in Europe. And unfortunately, that's what the level of these boys are. I'm talking about the best of them. So who will take that risk? I'll tell you, somebody who took the risk, Gurpreet Singh Sandhu took it. But he was lured back by Bangalore FC with 5 crores or 4 crores or 3 crores a year. And he didn't even think about it twice. In fact, he was going to become what Al-Habsi had become for Oman, and gone from the same club after playing Europa League and played 30 years, 20 years in the Premier League. And he was one step away. He had become the first keeper for Stabak. And I said it to Gurpreet that the best keeper he ever was when he just came from Stabak. And from then, because the training level and everything, I've just seen Gurpreet not be the same guy anymore because he's not being challenged. There is nobody who's actually challenging him anywhere near. So when you see this kind of a thing happening, there's no chance for Indian football. See, unless and until we have 10 Indians playing in the European Champions League, we will not make it to the World Cup. Simple. Or in the Europa League. And how many Indians do we have? 0. Do we have any chance of any Indians going there? No chance. Because anyone who's even this much good will get 1 crore, 2 crores from an ISL.
Igor, I'll put one to you. When during an international camp, when you call up the players, when you have 4 or 5 forward players, how long now only Sunil is playing in, as a center forward or whatever. So if you want to try out some other guys, maybe in a finishing session or anything, does it take them more time to, get into the groove of finding themselves in that position in front of goal to start, hitting the target?
No, absolutely. Our scoring was terrible, and you could clearly see at the training session also how low understanding in front of the goal is, how poor decision making is there. And it's all about training, it's all about playing game at that position, getting used to find yourself in certain positions at the certain moment, So it was
Igor,
obvious.
who was the
And
best?
it's not,
Who was the best? Wasn't it the guy who was coming from I League? You told me that somehow
Edmund,
he was.
yeah. He was a different class. He was the one who impressed the most from, and I will tell you, from all the boys I had in 5 years, he was the one who had the greatest impact in first few days when we had the tests. And it was already clear during the test execution because he was top 5 in all the tests we executed. So coming from I-League, it was immediately suggested to us that this is exceptional boy with totally different attitude and the approach, that he's got clear vision about what he wants for himself, how much he wants to challenge himself. His decision not to accept offers from ISL, but to take the offer from Canada, go to Vancouver to play football abroad instead of getting stuck in ISL, is a clear sign of the hunger and the challenge this boy is ready to put himself into. And that's the kind of character you need for the national team. He's fearless, his technique is very good, his ability 1v1 is amazing. His execution.
Game
So
time as a striker.
he needs games. He just needs games,
Do you think it made a difference that because he was from the I-League and he had this point to prove that, where I'm coming from, there is also this kind of talent. And if I can make it, it can set a good precedent for you to look at.
But there were various things which were pushing him to prove himself, obviously. But the thing which I noticed with this boy, his psychological profile is fantastic. The feedback we received from the sports psychologist, amazing. The test results we had, amazing. But the thing I noticed about his behavior was something different class. The fearlessness he's got about football and playing games against the best is something fantastic. That's something which we worked on with our players for 4 years to become what they are. And then you have a guy coming and showing that the second day. That's beauty. It's diamond. That's what I appreciated most,
So, in your latest conference that you had with a bunch of media guys, you spoke about your interaction with the president. And then there was a AIFF statement released where it was mentioned that you had 5 meetings with the president in the span of 18 months. So, what did you talk about? Weren't you able to build a relationship like the way you have built with Ranjit, sir?
Listen, meeting is something which is agreed between two persons in advance that they're going to meet at a certain place at a certain time for certain reasons. I never had that. I never had that.
That means you never had those 5 meetings.
It was either casual. I will tell you what was the first one. Okay. When he became president, we were at Hyatt Kolkata Hotel. And he was with all these bunch of guys there, like, I was thinking that Modi was there, not him, and receiving everyone, and I was one of the people who waited there to be received and introduced. So-called meeting took the place in the lobby area, in the meeting hall, small meeting hall, with the window glasses so you can see from the lobby inside. Few more guys were there from the new administration. The meeting went on for 3 minutes. Inside 3 minutes, he looked at his watch 5 times because he had another one coming. If he calls that a meeting or introduction or proper meeting with the head coach of the national team, so be it. That's telling you who he is. The second meeting was when I insisted after the SAF final for him and Haris and Shaji to come and meet me because I decided to leave my position. I wanted them then immediately there at the table with me to tell them what I think.
And how many attempts did it take you to actually... Yeah, so how many attempts did it take you to reach out to them for that meeting?
No. I just said I want them here or either I'm not coming back.
So did that meeting happen?
Yes, after the SAF. That's when we discussed everything. Okay. When I told them either we shake hands and separate our ways or you need to do certain things for this national team to keep improving, And when I promised to send them my presentation, which needs to be answered until 1st September. Okay. After that, we didn't have any meetings. He did everything to show up at the Boria conclave because I was taking part in the panel there. And he was so persistent asking Boria to take part in that panel because at that time article was out about disputes between me and the AIFF, if you remember. So he wanted to show up there to show that there is no dispute. You cannot call that a meeting. Somehow we did meet the next day, upper floor at the restaurant, where he came to promise me once again that my assistants will sign their contract extension, which was not done on the October 2nd, where was supposed to happen. He came only for that reason. And then he said to me, focus on your job. This is done. Everything will be done immediately. And then he announced even that the team will fly with a charter flight to Afghanistan. You remember that. And nothing was done. Nothing was done. I'll tell you one thing. He never came to Kuala Lumpur. He was not in Kuala Lumpur. What kind of a meeting he's talking about Kuala Lumpur? He was never there. Okay.
First meeting 3 minutes, second meeting you had, third meeting he was not there. Okay. Yeah. So,
but I'll tell you one thing. We were together in the same hotel for 3 days during the draw for the Asian Cup in Doha. Okay. We didn't travel together to Doha. I came from Croatia, he came from Delhi. In 3 days, being in the same hotel with the national team coach, he didn't find convenient to call me, sit down with me and discuss things. No, he was chasing Arsene Wenger to take photo with him. So what kind of a meeting he's talking about? Who he wants to justify and for what purpose? It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Bringing astrologer story again at this point. 3 years later, after everything was clear and discussed and everyone knows everything in AIFF. People before, people now, even Ranjit was there witnessing everything what was going on. So what they are talking about, it's AIFF at the moment is all about internal fights, hiring and firing people for no reasons, just doing favors to each other or fighting with each other. So it's not about football.
Maybe, one of them has interests in other departments here and there where, as Igor said, hiring and firing is going on. And with respect to hiring, also, I don't know, this technical committee and the executive committee and this committee and that committee. We have a technical director, right? We have Mr. Shabbir Pasha. Is he part of the technical committee, or the only time I've seen Shabbir Pasha's name since his appointment is on D-license certificates where his signature is there? As a technical director of the federation,
I think Sabir should be there. I think he's pretty, no disrespect to the guys who are there, but he's very, very knowledgeable, and I think Sabir Pasha should be there as a TD.
Igor has probably sat in with the technical committee, so he will have the most clearest picture of all. And I think he has mentioned in the past about Mr. Vijayan,
Apart from Vijayan and his stupid comments, he's not worth of mentioning, to be honest. He was a great player, but apart from that, let's forget about him. Technical committee, I had one meeting with them, and that meeting came out of the situation, which was kind of a negative because we had a poor result at that moment. So technical meeting was called to speak with the coach and hear discussion and reasons and what's being done and all that. And at that meeting, I gave them all the reasons, all the facts, not excuses, because people misunderstood excuses and the facts. And many times I heard people saying coach is looking for excuses. When you are telling the truth, that's the fact. That's not excuse. And since day one, I was giving you the truth. You can like it or love it, whatever is there. It's the truth. It will not change. So I gave the truth and the facts to the technical committee, and they were happy with that. And I told them at that time, they need to be present at the national team camps. I told Kalyan also, I insisted on one member of the technical committee showing up during the senior national team camp and being there with us. Not working or helping anything, just witnessing the work. Because in that way, when I send my report to the technical committee, that report has the purpose. Because one of them was there. He witnessed everything. He could see everything. He can ask questions, he can have discussion with me, with other coaches, with the players. He can witness the work. But no one was interested, obviously. No one was coming.
I can tell you, I spent so much of, I've got nothing to do with AIFF officially. And I was there because I was so much in love with my team, with my country's team. And I followed, and it was not tough to just see the work which was happening. But I want to go back to what Tanay said. There's no point of having a technical director who you will not give responsibility to other than just for coaching licenses. If he's a TD, the TD is supposed to coordinate with the national team coach on a daily basis of exactly what his requirement is. He can't be going to committees. The committee was there just to appoint him, and that is it. That is what their job was. So they're not supposed to be having anything to do with it. The guy who's supposed to be doing this on daily basis is Sabir sir. And does he have the knowledge? Oh my God, yes he does. I really wish they would have asked him to go, and I'm sure he would have loved to do it. But I think he has just been put as, a replacement or because they want to do the coaching education part and they want to use. So they don't know, where the real expertise is. Being a great player does not make you a great judge of.
Exactly. I think most of the people on this committee are there due to their playing career and nothing to actually
That's the
talk.
worst thing. You have to have technical people there who've got qualifications to judge coaches or do this, and that is what Sabir was perfect to do. Or before that, when Savio was there, the technical minds to do exactly the ticking of all the boxes. It's got nothing to do with how many internationals you played for India.
I mean that.
So you mean to say that
there is a clear problem in the way how AIFF functions, because even you, Ranjit, last time mentioned 5 or 6 great football people who are running their state associations in a magnificent way. They are nowhere near close the decision making in AIFF. Why is that? Why is that? Are we afraid of knowledge and successful people?
And by the way, the ones who are actually running some great in their places are not ex-football players. They're great administrators.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when I
To
talk
become
about
great administrator, Ranjit, it takes as long as to make great football player.
yes,
10 to 15
experience,
years.
game time,
You
same thing.
You cannot come out of nowhere and be a great administrator. It doesn't work that way. To be a great president of Football Federation, it takes 10 to 15 years working inside football, inside out. One state association or another in the club. It's a learning process. You cannot come out of political party not being involved for 20, 30 years in football and then say, okay, I'm president, now I will run the things smoothly. Doesn't work that way.
So one of the other comments also, which I saw the statement of AIFF, was that you had gone to a AFC National Coaches Conference and you made a statement that you only got 4 staff members for your, upcoming camps and etc. But AIFF said that they have always given you with 13 to 16 support staff. So the number is huge. You have mentioned 4 and they are saying 13, 14, not 5, 6, 7, 8. So this huge number. So how come you just saying 4?
If they can mention...
No, Igor didn't say 4. Actually, he said there were 4 and he lost 2 on the way.
2, yeah. He lost 2 on the way. Forgot to mention that.
They obviously don't know the difference between staff and support staff. That's why they're saying that. So when they say support staff, they think about everything all together. So coach and the staff is one thing, support staff is another thing. Okay. So when we speak about this came out of unpleasant situation which I was in during the coaching conference in Kuala Lumpur, no? Where everybody was involved in the topic which was there on the panel, mentioning importance of the staff and support staff these days and the great number which needs to be involved in supporting the players and making sure that everything is functioning well in the favor of the national team. So if I tell you that half of the participants there have more than 30 staff and support staff, then if you say we had 4, 2 or 13 is the same. Because when I say we, I mean India, we are not the country where human capital is expensive. Okay? It's not expensive. Because whatever we have, we are renting or taking for free. So why should you call that you have stuff if you're not paying it? That's not part of your stuff. If I'm paying social media manager, that's not your stuff. That's someone I pay to do the job. If match analyst is coming there because of me,
so they are considering social media manager to be a support staff also.
Of course, he supports staff. If he is there to make things run, so the players are not, and I'm not involved in social media things and
also to arrange interviews, that is not the job of the coach. So they have to handle that. And then there has to be a media manager. Then there has to be an analyst. And then there has to be a guy who is recording the matches from 2 different angles.
If you have sports psychologist who is there because he's my friend, great expert in helping the team and risking his salaries and everything he earns on the side to be with national team there, Why you call that your staff? Who they giving benefits for that? The people who were working with me were there only because of me, not because of IAF.
Okay, so I'll explain this. I'll explain this better, Igor. See, I'll tell you what staff is, Sagil. That's they're contracted people who are with you for the entire
Yep.
year.
Yep.
Okay.
Please
So
tell
one
me
thing-
what is
Yeah.
staff and support staff,
So
because we
I
need to
don't know,
make the people
support staff
understand
and
as well.
staff both. No,
Yeah.
staff,
Staff
all
are-
staff.
Ah,
All
so
staff are supposed to be contracted for the year. If you are going to get a guy who's going to come, like what Baiching Bhutia does, that you want to come and pay and play 500 rupees an hour, that is what they were doing for Joy Gabriel, who was the analyst. That is what they were doing for the psychologist. That is what they were hiring people for that camp for 10 days,
Yeah.
for 5 days. That is not support staff, because in the off time, that means when he's not doing the camp, what is the analyst supposed to be doing? He is supposed to be following the other teams and making sure that he has an eye on everything and that little thing is going to give him. But when will the analyst come and work? He's working for FC Goa. So when he goes back, he works for FC Goa, and then he comes here and starts working on the Indian team. And do you know how much time they could have worked on the Kuwait match? If not one, they should have had 4 analysts. Because one thing the Indians do not lack, I can give you a guarantee if you put it out, the analysts wanting to work for Indian, there will be 1,000 applications, because we've got IT guys all over the... In Europe, 90% of support staff are Indian, man. In football teams, in Premier League teams and analysts, the best ones are Indians. So that's one thing we could have had. And that's the same thing for massage therapists. That's the same thing for sports psychologists. Then you've got rehab recovery in experts. You've got strength and conditioning coaches. You've got then you've got the other side, when you've got the guys who are assisting Igor with the goalkeeping coach, or the other football coaches with him, which is his support staff, which is his staff. So there should be a team of around 30 to 40 people. And they're not supposed to travel with the team. There's some supposed to be who are for India. And when you're going abroad, you probably cut that number down by 50% and you travel your essential stuff.
And this is, we're just talking about the senior team. This should
Yes.
be at every stage below that. In under
Absolutely.
23,
And by the way, in Minerva, we are a
19,
second division team, or Delhi FC. I have a support staff and staff of... Okay, let me tell you my coaching staff for my last year. On my bench, I had 2 pro licenses in Surinder and Yan. I had 2 A licenses in Israel and Darshan. And I had a goalkeeping coach. And I had, other than that, analysts, massage therapists, media managers, security guys, this and that. So I had a support staff and staff of 20 people. And I'm the lowest budgeted club. Why? Because I think if I have to spend money, this is where I should spend money and not on high salaries.
So you mentioned about goalkeeping coach, and it was also mentioned in the statement that based on Igor's demand, they received goalkeeping coach and a free kick specialist. So is it true, sir?
Again, no. Again, for 10 days, like 20 days. So there was a goalkeeping coach. So what is he going to come and do? Make the goalkeeper a Superman in 20 days? Or the free kick specialist? He came in for that tournament and he went and joined them in in Asian Cup in that place. So what is he supposed to make them do? He can't even make... They didn't even have time to practice one kick. Forget about using that kick. What is he going to do?
Okay.
Yeah. The goalkeeper, which first started working with me, do you know about him? You don't know.
you went to the Champions League?
So he's a goalkeeper coach who worked with me for the Croatian national team. After that, he was signed by Shakhtar Donetsk, worked in the Champions League. From Shakhtar Donetsk, Mr. Lucescu took him to Zenit St. Petersburg, Russia, Russian League, Champion League again. From there, he was signed by Club Brugge, Belgium, became champion there, played the Champion League. From there, just not to go on and on and on, last year he worked in Lazio with one of the guys who was my assistant in Croatian national team, Igor Tudor, one of my colleagues. He was head coach of Lazio last season. So I bring you a goalkeeper coach whose price on the market is $30,000 per month, who accepts to come for me to India for $6,000 per month to help me and to help India, because I was the one who made his career grow, calling him from nowhere to join me for the Croatian national team. and he's paying me back. So I'm using my connections and my people to help India. But then when pandemic started, I let him go to China to work there because of the size of the contract and everything, and we didn't have any gains, so there was no point of me keeping him there, stuck with a contract with AIFF. And then when there was a situation to call him to help us once again prior to the Asian Cup, I call him and he comes. So the only thing AIFF paid to him was a flight ticket. And they mentioned that now. How embarrassing is that? That you have a guy who works in Lazio coming to help you. Help your team, not to me. He's helping your goalkeeper.
Okay, so let me tell you what the goalkeeper said about him. Because Amrinder and Gurpreet both come and train in off-season here. They said we've never been with a better goalkeeping coach in our lives. We really wish he was here. And he says he took us to the next level because the kind of things he was doing with us, we had never done before. So we had somebody world class.
Tanay, just a second. Tanay has.
I brought with me to India one of the best goalkeeper coaches in Europe and one of top 3 fitness coaches in Europe to work for the funny salary. And you guys, about the knowledge, when I say how low is the football knowledge, you didn't even have a clue about it because you don't follow that. There is no football culture in India. I need to say that again and again and again. So why you expect miracles to happen? You need to build football culture first. You need to start.
How do we build that? How do we build that?
The easiest way of rebuilding football culture, because once, long ago, football culture was there. And then for 4 or 5 decades, India was doing nothing about football. Nothing. There was certain investment going towards cricket, and then success in cricket happens. And after that, everything was about cricket. No other sports are important in India. And also, we need to take responsibility.
So I would like to pause you out here for a second. So the things that you're telling me now about there was no football for 4 or 5 decades, nobody took care of it. So was this all a part of research work before you joined the national team?
Absolutely.
Yes. So what motivated you to join Indian national team then?
I said many
coming from such a great background. Yes.
I told many times this size of the challenge and kind of a promise which was there about involving players of Indian origin to represent the country. Because I could clearly see there a chance and a huge, huge difference in the quality and the chances going forward. And with everything what was going on, it was clear year by year that things will not happen. Disappointment. But anyway, as a coach, you need to accept responsibility, which I did. I prepared myself for both options with players of Indian origin or without them. I knew whatever is there ahead of us, I need to make sure that India has a certain future in football. That's why I opened the door of the senior national team to all the youngsters from under 17 World Cup bunch. And
70 players. Igor, 70 players played under you. So that means the pool of players is now at least minimum of 70, which was not there. Probably maximum 25, and we never used to go beyond that ever.
Yeah.
And Tanay again, second me on that.
Listen, first couple of years were suffering years because reconstruction of the team, it doesn't happen over the night, but throughout that suffering period, we made sure that our boys grow up, that they mature quicker, that they gain experience at international football, that they start understanding what's needed in regards of the mindset change, the football approach, what's kind of a difference in intensity is there between ISL and international football, what needs to be done on the private side of their life if they want to compete at the international level, lots of learning and education was there, So it was not only what you can see during the camps or when we play the games. It was lots of educational process going on. If you look back and look now, how well developed their bodies are, that's one of the reasons why we can play today against anyone if we are all fit and ready.
By the way, I would take it even a step further. People keep on saying that, how come if we actually improve so much, why are we still there and thereabouts? I would say because we improved and the rest of the world improved as well. And they improved bloody faster, man. And we improved because we were here. But imagine if we had all the resources it's there, because countries like Afghanistan, what they were 10 years ago or 15 years ago, they're faster. Why? Because they've not been training in Afghanistan. All their players play in the German 3rd division or something like that. And then they come together and that's why they're great. So the training is fantastic. So same with what Vietnam did, or they were the same as us and they just opened one academy and that academy gave them so many fruits. What do you think Qatar did? They opened a world-class academy, Aspire Academy, and no one seems to get the basis of it, that unless you focus on the grassroots, like what Igor was saying, that, and people were saying, oh my God, why is he saying this? Why is he blaming the grassroots on the senior results? That how do we expect to get great results? Have we ever done well in the AFC 16s or the AFC 19s or the AFC 23s? And suddenly we want to qualify for the World Cup, and that doesn't happen. And that is why when I keep on talking about my World Cup bash 2034, I work it backwards, that for 2030, you need to be in the Asian Cup top 8 in the Asian Cup. And how do you do that? By 2026, you need to be in the under 16 top 4. And are we there? No, we are not, because we don't even have an under 14 team or 15 team. Right. So,
yeah, just a couple of things there, like what both Igor and Ranjit mentioned about the Indian origin players outside. A lot of people here, they criticize that approach because they feel it's a shortcut and we'll be neglecting a grassroots approach. But what they don't understand is that both need to happen concurrently. If you include Indian origin players, it gives that one boost which is required to get into that small margin which is there. Imagine it's basically an ISL team playing at that level. If you have a spine of Indian origin players, a centre back, a centre midfielder, or someone to create and someone to score, or whatever, 4 or 5 of them, if they enter the starting 11 immediately, that itself gives a big boost. But at the same time, like Ranjit said, we have to also keep working at the grassroots. I think you titled this podcast, "What Next for Indian Football?" I think I would say that we should be in a position to accept where we are and focus on the future by, what ISL I-League is happening, it's okay, let it happen at that level. But now you need to reroute majority of the funding and your human resource to start at the bottom. And like he said, work backwards and try to start building those teams which can, on merit, qualify for these youth competitions. And that's the only way we are going to get there. Otherwise, we'll just keep dreaming and 1.4 billion dreams and sleeping giants and God knows what.
Spot on, dear Tanay. I absolutely agree with everything what you said, because when we mentioned involving players of Indian origin to represent the country, we didn't think to rely on it for ages. But rebuilding football culture comes with the immediate success in the sport we are talking about. And if you consider that there is 8 spots, possible 9, to the World Cup from the Asian continent at this moment, imagine involving players of Indian origin to represent the country, how much more chances gives to India to qualify. You are there, just on the edge. Then you are from 7th to 11th position there. If we speak about the strength, individual strength of the players and the quality. So it's about difference in the quality of the manager, head coach, support staff and all that. Small margin is there. And once India reaches the World Cup, if that was happening, football culture is rebuilt immediately. Immediately. Sponsors are coming in. Money is flowing around. Football academies are becoming interesting, much easier for the parents to accept the responsibility to provide their kids the chance to join football academies, which is not the case now in most of the situations. Parents are not happy when their kids decide to play football, So many things changing. In the meantime, as you said, Tanay, parallelly, developmental programs need to happen, need to grow. And that's the only way forward, you see.
I think we need that hero, that breakthrough player, and I don't mind if that will be an Indian origin player from outside, as long as we get one or two who come and represent, wear the Indian colors, and then keep on
that. And we need the first Mohammad Salah, we all need the first Pakchi song, and that gives the belief and overnight, like he said, culture. So that gives the belief to the players and then to the people and to the sponsors that yes, we get.
And this creates that trickle-down effect. And, like the numerical reach of India is unparalleled. So even if that player plays for Manpreet Sankari, who plays in the Austrian Bundesliga, imagine what kind of following that Austrian club will suddenly get, or Jan Dhanda playing for Hearts in Scotland or whoever. They can capitalize on the market, and it creates this financial synergy there about reach and funding, and starts a whole cycle.
But I was thinking a lot about it, and there were different approaches you can have to this problem. Because why is India handicapped at the moment? Because you allow so many foreign players to play in India. Is that true? You close the door to your own kids in your football teams.
Yep. And in the main positions. And you close in the main positions. You let them be in the sides. You close them in the main spine.
So you close the door for your own kids in your own country, and at the same time you don't allow your own kids, which were born abroad, to come to your country and represent it. And these kids are successful and developed by someone else. Someone else invested money into their development. So what kind of stupidity is there? Is that normal? No, that's not normal. No normal country would do that and treat one so important sport in such a way. That's terrible. And then when you look how to combine all this, you can find perfect solution. What are the critical positions in Indian football? Strikers, center backs, goalkeepers, attacking midfielders. These are crucial spinal positions, is it? Allow players of Indian origin to represent the country on these positions where you are allowing foreigners to play in Indian clubs. Simple as that. You don't need to bring all these players. You need to have a good mixture of local boys, homegrown boys with those who are playing abroad and who are born abroad.
I think this thinking needs to go into the club's philosophy, where they should trust the manager and tell him, we trust you to play and trust an Indian in that position, and don't worry about, if he doesn't score in the first 5 games and you lose all those 5 games, your job will not be under threat. But then it has to come from...
So a few more questions.
That would have happened. What would have happened in ISL is that all the ISL owners would have said, forget about these results, what we're having in now, let's have a great academy, so that 10 years later, that my academy is producing 90% of the players for my club and for the India. No one's done that, except all the I-League clubs who went from here to there.
So one more question I would like to ask you. During the phase where there were a lot of talks about sacking of Igor, there were 3 things very much, heard in the media. First was Igor, second was Shaji Parbhakaran, and the third was termination clause. So I want to understand this from scratch and let the audience also know why was this so popular in the public? What mistake did Shaji made, or what was actually happening in the federation? Ranjit sir or Igor, if you could take on this.
Yeah, I can
One second, I can't answer this because I have no inside knowledge of what happened between Igor and Shaji. This is totally Igor's.
Okay.
I'll try to explain to you. First of all, whoever sent and approved that resignation letter, termination letter, however you call it, that day to be sent to me, he made a crucial mistake because he didn't read the contract and annexes before sending the termination letter. He didn't care about it, or he's stupid. Simple as that. Because that simple mistake will cost AIFF now $1 million. Minimum. Simple as it. Now, what are they trying to do? To point finger at someone else. Simple as that. Trying to find a guilty party somewhere else, and who is better than Shaji at the moment, who is not there. That's what they're trying to do. The thing is that they probably thought that when I had my contract extension in October, that something was there which was making sure that I will not have the right or legal right to go and ask compensation for the full amount of the contract. But guys, this is 3-page annex. 3-page. In the first page, there is nothing important. In the third page, there is nothing important. In the second page, it's the crucial thing. Clause 9, which explains everything. And why is there? That was the only thing I insisted on. But not in October when I signed that with Shaji. That happened 2 years ago, when they came with the first contract extension to me, when Asian Cup was postponed from June to December, you remember, when China decided to get out of the Asian Cup, hosting the Asian Cup, when Qatar took over and Asian Cup was postponed. That was the first time when Kalyan and his people decided to extend my contract. Because of the bad message they sent to me at that time, which was clear to me that I'm not welcome there anymore from their part, because they said to me, your contract will be extended if you qualify to the quarterfinals of the Asian Cup. That was clear sign to me, you are not our man, we have other plans, you can start packing your bags. But we're not going to take you out now because you qualified. Results were good, okay, so we take you out first chance we got. The only thing I requested, which was different from my original contract, was that they don't have opportunity to sack me before that. No more than that. And that stayed. And they knew it. The contract, extension contract, was approved by everyone, executive committee, president, everyone there. That's how it happens.
Yeah.
And now when we extended contract in October last year, why should I change that? To trust them. After everything they did, after they didn't fulfill anything from the presentation they received, after they didn't answer to me until 1st December as it was agreed, until they agreed tournaments and the games without consulting me and showing no respect to me, I need to trust them. Come on.
Okay. So before I try to wrap this up and get the last message from Igor, is there anything Tanay or Ranjit sir you would like to add to this? As in conclusion. Tanay, you can go first.
Nah, I think we sort of added on and jumped on to whatever was being discussed. So, yeah, I think covered a lot of good stuff today. Thanks to Igor and Ranjit as well. Guys, you can take it.
I would agree with that. I think we've covered everything. In fact, all the little bits which people still had doubts about, especially with me also, is the doubts there. But I would say you'll see me support my national team more when they are losing, and you'll see me support my national team coach whoever comes in always. But with Igor, I'll tell you that I have been a football fan since I played for my country. And even before that, I mean by 16, 17. Okay? And I was following at that time Baiching Bhutia and I am Vijay and Renedy all used to be playing for J City. And since then, till now, when you played, imagine, forget about football fans, when you played for your country, that means that's your love sport and that's the love you have. Obviously, maybe if I was not in football like I am now, I was always following the sport. Never have I had goosebumps. Never have I cried in a football game. In fact, it's just been sadness after sadness after sadness. In 5 years, yes, we've had downs, but the ups we've had were like never before. Yes, we've had results which could have gone the other way, but the moments which this man has given me, the Sunil Chetri moment when he was singing Vande Mataram, I was there in the crowd. I'm never going to have that feeling again in my life. And that feeling was to die for. And that was only being able to be given to us because of that title. And then we did it again and again. I went to Manipur, and the people there, even the governor, man, they told me that people in Manipur do not somehow raise the Indian flag whenever there's a national event. But that day, the entire stadium had Indian flags. Normally they, do their own community flags. Not because they don't disrespect India, but because they've got that going amongst each other. But that day, they didn't care. That day, the entire stadium was like that. They did it in Bhubaneswar, the same thing. So this kind of what he was talking about, culture, he created that culture, at least for our national senior team, man. And I would always tip my hats off to him. So I'm not his lawyer. I will tell you where he is. So yes, we could have been really good. But yes, oh my God, we have to thank the coach for what he has done for us. The same way you would thank a national team player for missing 5 penalties but scoring us 50 goals. The same way you would thank Arsene Wenger for giving us the Invincibles, but doing sucking for 5 years. But he's a great. Look at what he has achieved. So I would say that you outweigh the positives, really outweigh the negatives. So thank you.
Yeah. So the last question to this discussion is for Igor. So, sir, now you have been removed as the national team coach of India, and now you consider yourself to be an Indian football fan. And we all consider ourselves to be Indian football fan. That's why we are sitting here doing this discussion, trying to talk about the development of Indian football. So you being someone who has been so close with Indian football, being the national team coach, and now you are an Indian football fan, you have the knowledge. Put up a message for the federation as a passionate Indian football fan to tell them that what they need to do right and what they are doing wrong for the development of football in India.
Listen, now knowing all of them and having chance to meet them personally, the only good thing they can do for Indian football is to leave and let someone else come there and take good care of Indian football. That's the only truth coming out of the work I had with them, or no work with them, because I could barely see them or meet them or discuss football. That's not the way to run the football house. So sooner these guys leave the positions and someone understands that they are not destined to take Indian football forward, it would be better for India. Ranjit, sincerely, I hope you will have many more moments like we witnessed in the last year. You deserve that. I know how passionate you are about football. Thank you for working pro bono as my lawyer, But guys, keep spreading the truth. Speak your mind out. Don't be afraid about discussing football and giving opportunity to everyone who loves it, who really loves it. Because as you said earlier, our football in India doesn't need fans who will be there when the things are good. We don't need such guys there. We need passionate fans who are there in good and bad times. And I'm not there anymore, but I'm proud on each day we spent together, because I brought back the passion into your football, into your national team dressing room. We turned things around. You remember how India played before me and during me. We took the risk. We changed the mentality. We changed the mindset. We changed the philosophy. We changed the whole team. There is only one player left from the group I found there. So it's whole new India. It's India which is capable of playing passionate football, fearless football, ball possession and vertical football at the same time, high press football, if they are given enough time to prepare themselves. From the game intensity they play on a weekly basis in ISL, nothing good will come out, believe me. Whoever is your next coach, he needs lots of time to work with these boys, to bring the intensity level to the needed standard to play international football.
200 plus applicants have been received by AIFF for the next
It's
national
not
team.
important. I heard that information already, but let me know if there is anyone of my stature there amongst these 200. And it's not important how many you got applicants. It's important who they are.
Okay, so with that, we come to the end of today's discussion. Thank you so much, Ranjit sir. Thank you so much, Tanay. And thank you so much, Igor, for coming in this discussion. I mean, you don't have to do this, but you are still coming on and talking about all these things. It really means a lot, and it's giving a new perspective to all the Indian football fans. So thank you so much for your amazing time, and we hope to meet again.